I don't want to do that
Hold.
again. Hey, you're now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast with your host Todd Fox and Fernando the Lone Star Halo, brought to you in part by Noble L Works, just outside of Anaheim Stadium and the Pond, or the Honda Center, where you can get drink specials just by mentioning Halos in the Infield. Also brought to you in part by 714 Tickets. 714 Tickets is a place to go to get 10% off of any ticket purchase just by also mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show. Hey, indeed. It is Todd Fox here on a Sunday night, recovering. Happy Easter, everybody. I am your host for tonight, along with the other host of the show. That would be
Rob.
you, Rob.
How you guys doing?
Rob
And
Check.
James.
Yes, and one half of James Squared is on the show. We gotta make a introduction that just has Halos in the Infield podcast, because we're gonna be interchanging all year. So no Fernando tonight, if that's what you're waiting for. But we're gonna do a recap of the Baltimore series that just was. It started off the season, took 4 days and 3 games. And then we're going to talk about the Miami series and kind of break down that. And we're going to get through the highs and lows in this one. So any opening statements you guys got for the series and well, actually, you know what surprised you and what was a disappointment? Go for it first, Rob.
I think that surprised me was Reed Detmers today on Sunday. It was nice to get it and not get swept. The most disappointing thing has been so far, and I want to trust in him, is Ron's lineup. Very disappointing so far.
Okay, and we'll get more into that as we go. James?
Shoot. First question is not getting swept. That was kind of a surprise. And then the most disappointing thing was Patrick Sandoval. You know, he wanted the ball on opening day, and Ron thought he deserved it. And he's just back to the way he was last year.
Okay, I know it's 3 games, and we're going to play into that because that's actually going to get us into our first point. But before I do, real quick question to feed off of that, the Sandoval take. Was Sandoval, in your guys' opinion, the right one to take the bump in Game 1?
Hell no.
Nah. I'd rather have given it to Detmers or Canning. I personally wanted Silseth, but Detmers or Canning deserved it more.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that too.
Okay, that's a fair point. So that'll jump us into that Game 1. Game 1, obviously, Corbin Burns, the big name, trade that came over, already to stack a good, rotation that the Orioles have. And he was going to be your ace. And, the guy that Fernando had on, his name's escaping me. I was listening to their show. And he said, man, I really don't trust Corbin Burns. He's, I didn't see too much of him in Milwaukee. Maybe coming to another team's not going to, work. But, it sure as hell did that Game 1. Do you guys think that they still win the game? Say, for instance, if you had a Detmers going against him in Game 1 and he kind of kept it a 3-1 game, do you think the Angels still lose that game? Or, they pull something different with Detmers pitching or any other pitcher?
I think they still lose that game. I mean, our hitting was awful, right? 2 hits, one by Trout, one by Rengifo there, and the offense just wasn't there. The lineup card, in my opinion, just wasn't there. And you look at it, what the guy who gave up the 2 runs for them, or Corbin Burns gave up the 1, right? Solo blast.
Yeah.
For the and the other one, there's 1 earned run and 1 error, so out of the 3. So it's kind of, I still think they had our number there, right? Corbin Burns is elite.
Yeah, he
pitcher.
Had 11 strikeouts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11 strikeouts, 82 pitches in 6
Wow.
innings to manage that. I mean, think about that real quick. He was just dominating that. And the one that Trout got him on was the curveball. He has 2 curveballs. Get him out type curveball, low and away that sweeps away from you in the dirt, which Tyler Anderson, take notes. And then he has a get me over curveball to throw for strikes that he can use in any count. So it was tough overall. Trout found the one to get me over there, and which I'm surprised he wouldn't just challenge Trout with fastballs up high. He was hitting the spots down. He looked mid-season form.
Yeah, he looked great. What do you think, James?
No, they wouldn't have won. The Angels never do well with opening days, especially on the road. We saw that the last couple of years with Oakland. No, just all that momentum they had, the Orioles, and of course Burns pitching. I don't think it would have mattered. They wouldn't have got any hits, just like how it happened. I just never trust the Angels on opening day to, be any good, and especially against, someone's ace like this. There's just no way they would score enough to win.
Now, talking about what Rob brought up, what do you guys think of that lineup? Because wasn't in game one, it was Rendon, Hicks, right? And then Trout.
Mm-hmm.
And are you guys, first question is, do you guys like the Rendon Hicks? Probably a dumb question, but do you guys like the Rendon Hicks up top? And then do you like Ward in that fourth spot?
I don't. I mean, Rendon Hicks, what is Rendon now? 0 for 12?
Yes.
In that leadoff spot overall?
Yeah.
As Angel fans, we've seen him. We're over him. We're tired of him. We think he's going to turn the corner. Let's give him another shot. He's just not doing it for us, right? We have a true leadoff hitter somewhere in this lineup, right? I do think that the guy we can do is Shanwell. He sees the ball very well, works the count, allows number 2, number 3 hitters to see what they have, especially earlier in the games. If not, I would love to see Neto back up there again. And then worst come to worst, I don't want him there because I think he's more a power hitter than Hifo, but this guy's on the bench. And even Moniak there, we were just talking about this, right? He hits right-handed hitters very well. Lefties, he struggles. He's on the bench. Why? I don't understand this. First two games of the series, you needed that pop. You needed that at bat, and I thought he had a hell of a spring, showing that he was seeing the pitches better, working counts more. He wasn't just letting those loose swings that we saw the second half of baseball. But Rendon and Hicks, for me, is just not doing it. I thought Hicks was a bad signing anyways. I get it. It was cheap. You can say whatever you want. Oh, it didn't cost the Angels much. But then you just kind of put back Adele. You put back Moniak.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to do? You know what I mean? These guys are ready to flourish. We got to give them the tools. You have the coaching staff there. But no, let's handcuff ourselves and let's sign more outfielders instead of signing pitchers, what we actually need. But this lineup right here, just all together. Ward 4 is working out so far the past 2 games. But even him, I would like to see him number 2.
Yeah. What do you think, James?
I want either I want Shanuel leading off and then Neto second, then Trout, Ward, Rendon. I think that'd be good, and throw in Ohapi for there, or Drury and then Ohapi. No, Drury, Rendon, and then Ohapi. But I don't know if Rendon would go all the way down there. I think his, I think he would be mad about that. But if you're not producing, you deserve to be 6 or less. Honestly, I was following on Twitter along during the game, or X, and the talk was all about Aaron Hicks and how bad he did and how bad he's done so far. And I mentioned, once he leaves the Angels, he gets DFA'd. Maybe in May or something, he'll go somewhere and just blossom. He's got to find a spot somewhere. I want to see more of Adele, see if he can get a spot. I know he shined. I think on Saturday he had a triple of some sort when the game was already decided. But Hicks is kind of taking Moniak's shine, like Rob said, and I just want to see more of the young guys. Maybe we'll get that. But for now, I hope maybe Ron after the homestand, maybe he'll make a change. But I would love to see Shanuel first and Ohapi second. You get the speed on, you get on base, and then the power guys come up, and then let it go from there.
Yeah, patient Ohapi would definitely help Trout in front of him as well. I like those 2 ideas you guys got with Shanuel and him up top. Now, one quick question before we segue back into game 1 is, for me, is there a way, guys, that we can, with the other youth that we have in the lineup, somehow get Renifo, Moniak, and Adele in the lineup together, or it's some sort of way get them in? Is there any way, in your opinions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just got to have the balls to drop guys. Got to have the balls get dumped. Players who aren't helping you anymore. You got to be able to eat a contract here, or if not, package something up where you even pay half. I mean, you got to get something out of it, right? Because if not, why are you gonna pay a guy $38 million to go 0 for? He's 0 for 11. Why are you gonna pay Aaron Hicks $700,000 to go 0 for 6 but 5 strikeouts?
Yeah,
6 at bats, right? You're not even putting up quality at bats. Yeah, he walked one time, great, but That's the only way to do it, right? Is to have that grit and go ahead and do it. And I think Washington can, but is Artie Moreno holding him back? That's the whole question, right? We saw it happen once where, hey, Pujols, you're not doing it for us anymore. We're going to bring this guy up called Jared Walsh, and we're going to let him flourish and take over your spot. We respect you as a Hall of Famer, but we got to win. We got to win now. I mean, that's the kind of the attitude we should have at this point in time.
True. James?
The only way you see any changes in the lineup, either on the off day or the DH kind of changes. Maybe Drury's the DH one day. You get Rengifo in there. Maybe on a Sunday you'll get all those other guys in the lineup. I was hoping that kind of happened today, but it's going to come down to injuries or DFAing Adele, something like that. It's going to come down to that for other guys to have an opportunity. And that's unfortunate. Some guys are just in the way almost when you think about it. And it starts at the top of the lineup with Rendon and Hicks. They're both in the way of things, it seems like. And you want to see more of Moniak, more Rengifo, especially Rengifo, because he's been trade bait for at least since 2019. So correct. I want to see more of him, and maybe you could, again, like Rob said, package him in something and maybe get some starting pitching for once. If you're not going to play him, you might as well trade him away and get something for him.
Yeah, and I believe this is the last time for Adele to shine. So, I do want to see him get more playing time too. Sink or swim with him, and it wouldn't cost you that much if you had to get rid of him if he wasn't producing. But he's never really had a fair shake due to either injuries or just being called up, sent down, guys in his way. So it is frustrating. And those three guys we just mentioned have a lot of speed and are hitters that, like today, we had some in the second inning, had some really nice just lined up swings. Perfectly placed swings that got nice line drive singles. That was refreshing. I don't like always seeing the home run. I like when they get guys on base and pressure. And we'll get more into that. But getting back to game one, what was your thoughts when Sandoval again was crap in the bed? You're giving Burns, an already elite pitcher, a 4-run lead, and then you pour gas in the fire by bringing in Suarez. Was that a wave of the white flag?
I'll say no. I wasn't away with the white flag. I mean, Suarez overall, I don't think did bad, right? You're going into the game. You're not really thinking you're going to be called on in the second inning of that game, right? It's opening day. Your starting pitcher is supposed to be your best one out there, supposed to get you some innings, at least 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pretty impressed with Suarez overall. I mean, you're thrown into a bad situation and everything. And we've seen these guys in the bullpen, right? There's sometimes they're not even out there in the first inning. But now imagine being out there in the second inning on the actual bump because you're throwing because your starter couldn't make it out. I'm not a fan of Sandoval getting the ball. I think he had an awful spring, locating pitches very poorly, not getting the strike him out type pitches there, getting ahead in the count and falling behind very quickly after, running that pitch count up, as we clearly saw in an inning and 2/3. He had over 60-something pitches. Ridiculous. He is not your number one guy. Honestly, the Sandy project is not for us. We don't have the right tools, doesn't seem like, to help him. I do think if he goes to another team, he will flourish and be good. But for us right now, he's a bullpen guy. And nothing more, nothing less than that. We need to hold accountable to that, and we need to accept the fact instead of just keep throwing him out there to die, because we're not helping this dude. There's nothing that we're doing to helping him. And I don't know if you guys think that Enright's doing anything different, but it's the same old Sandy to me.
Okay, James?
Yeah, it looks like the Angels, of course, were outmatched, outnumbered. I know it was 25-11 the series total runs. Just not enough offense, not enough good pitching. And yeah, they're going up against the AL powerhouse, supposedly. I mean, it started off well, Trout homered, but after that, the whole thing from last year is hey, you get a run, but you give up 3 or more. Mm-hmm. That just seems to always be a theme. Man, I was hoping Sandoval would turn a corner, but like Rob mentioned, he's just another project for the Angels. And I don't have time for that. I'd rather have a young guy come up and you work with him instead of someone you just know will never be good in your system. It doesn't matter who's coaching. It doesn't matter anything. It's got to be all mental or just not focused enough. That's what maybe Sandoval's going around. Yeah, and his start led to Suarez just eating up innings. And I think, Todd, you mentioned that with Suarez, you might just have him until you don't have options anymore. So might as well just use them in games that don't matter, like this one. It was unfortunate to see, Sandoval right away, opening day, get knocked out so fast, like 1 1/3, I think it was. Suarez had to get some innings in, he did, but he also got shelled too. So it was just like the same old basically happening for the staff on opening day.
Now, quick question before we move on to game 2. I brought this up in the post game. Would you guys been happier if they brought in Tyler Anderson, given the extra day off he had between starts? It wouldn't have really messed up his 4 days off type deal, even though he hasn't started yet. But bringing in a Tyler Anderson to maybe give you 4 or 5 innings that you could probably depend on more than you could with Suarez.
No, I mean, it's early in the season, right? You don't want to do anything. This guy have an arm injury, tack on extra innings to his arm. Anderson's, although statistically he's not great, but he does eat innings. He is a number 5 guy. Just like I feel like we're almost a team of number 4 and 5 guys. You said it before, and I agree. There's no predominant ace on the staff, but he does give you quality outings because he eats innings up, and he's not afraid to go out there and pitch. I don't want to, so early in the season, overwork him to the point where his arm gets fatigued and we have an Ohtani situation on our hands late in the season where now, hey, we need to make a trade because we think we might be close. I'm not saying we're going to be, but we think we might be close to a playoff run, and Artie gets a hair up his ass, and let's go ahead and make a trade, and we get rid of Cade and Dana because we need to make a run for half the season.
Yikes, that would hurt, but I can see it happening. Yeah, I don't think you do that with Tyler Anderson now. I think that happened in one of our watch parties with you and Dominic Todd, where I can't remember who the starting pitcher was, but he gave a bunch of runs to LA at Dodger Stadium, and then Tyler Anderson came in. I think it was the game before the All-Star break last season, and Anderson came in. He pitched like 2 or 3 innings. He still gave up a home run to everyone, basically. But I want to do that now. I'll do that later in the year when you just know, the season doesn't matter, the records don't matter, and you're just trying to get someone to get in that extra work at before the break. So I think that's when you do it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So the Angels took a loss in that one, 11-3, right? Game 1. Okay, so that moved us on to game 2, which was an extra day off, having the Friday and moving it on to Saturday. And the Angels got the bump with Griffin Canning. That started good. Griffin Canning was able to keep the ball down, and for 5 innings, it was only 3-1. And again, the Angels' offense was sputtering, and guys were striking out like Aaron Hicks, and you brought up Robert earlier. And then the wheels came off. Do you guys agree with Ron Washington allowing Griffin to take the ball in the 6th inning? Kind of like, playing with fire, like, hey, I gave you 5 good, but teetering on a collapse here, or do you think that was a right call keeping Canning out there in the 6th?
Yeah, that's tough to say, right? Hindsight's 2020. Personally, I don't think it was the right call, and I'm a big believer on this. Is that Sosha had a 5 innings rule limit usually around opening day or his pitch count, and his pitch count was up there, it was in the 80s, right? Almost about the time where you want to take him out. It was, or high 70s, sorry. Almost one time you take him out. Griffin's a project still. He still lacks a little bit of confidence here and there. If he's working good for you for 5 innings and kept you in the game, it is time to move on from him and go to the bullpen and see what everyone else has, especially early in the season. We don't want to overwork him, or for him, I just think he's mental case sometimes. Baseball is a very mental game, right? These guys talk to sports psychiatrists all the time. Not saying it's going to affect his game the next outing overall, but he does start overthinking. He does try to be too fine with pitches. And you can see that too. He starts missing spots, doesn't get the break that he wants on it. Griffin Canning can be really good. However, you got to keep him out of his own way. That's my firm belief. I mean, we're on Washington, of course. He's testing out the waters, right, with these guys because all he had is spring training with them so far. And Griffin, I thought, pitched very well in spring training, especially late in. So Ron probably saw that and threw him in. But for now, I just want to see the Angels get through 5, see where starting pitcher is at, and let's see if we can start building the bullpen. Yes, you will start taxing that bullpen's arms a little bit, but we got to do something somewhere. It's either our starting pitching is going to take the hit or our pen's taking the hit. We got to make that decision now. Ron does at least, right, for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. James?
That's a tough call, but you want to show confidence in your guys on the staff and the starting pitching. But it just seems like 4 innings, 5 innings, that's always a limit, and you never go over it, especially with pitchers nowadays, and especially at the beginning of the season. You don't want to, you know, lose someone to an injury because you over pitched him in a even in a close game early in the season. And Canning, you just know he's never good after the 5th inning. He ended up with 96 pitches. Probably could have stayed where he was in the dugout later on. He could have got into that bullpen sooner. But we all saw that the bullpen imploded anyway. So, yeah, I feel bad for Canning, but he also has trouble with walks with his location. That's always been a problem with him. Not getting the ground balls, but just giving up walks. He's got to make sure he gets those ground balls. Give him something that looks tantalizing to hit, but then have it drop and get that whatever double plays to get out of the innings. But I would just add him 5.
Okay. And last thing on that game, as you alluded to, they got blown out at the end. Wills came off. A couple extra runs were tagged on to Griffin Canning as he started that 6th inning, leaving I think the first 2 men on base. Luis Garcia, obviously he's not gonna go the entire season without getting it out. But is he a guy that's going to calm down and be a calming influence on that bullpen, or is he going to be a problem in your opinion? Number one. And number 2, what was the most disappointing performance out of that bullpen? Was it Luis Garcia or somebody else in your opinion?
I mean, I wasn't a fan of that signing period. Luis Garcia, I didn't think he was the guy for us. He wasn't a shutdown type guy. He wasn't a game stopper. I mean, he doesn't fit the Angels mold. He does if you want to be the shitty Angels that we've been for the past couple of years who don't want to be competitive. Great. Yeah, he's our guy. Let's pay him all we can. But we saw the market out there. There was quality guys out there. And I thought we even overpaid for this dude. And yeah, is he the most disappointing? Absolutely not. I expected that from this guy, to be honest with you. I was not high on this signing at all. I still think it's one of the worst signings, and I don't understand why. I'd rather have a Ben Joyce up here getting work in with Barry Enright himself, hands-on, one-on-one, directly. What do you want from him? And work with him. Do your job. I get the franchise-wise. He has options. You can move up and down. Oh, we don't want him to lose confidence. I don't think Ben Joyce can lose confidence. Dude throws 100 miles per hour. Right? You kind of walk with a little bit of a different swagger at that point in time.
Absolutely.
But overall, I mean, so far, all you can say is with Zwinga, I don't know how to say his last name. Is it Zwinga?
Something like that with Z. I think we know who you're talking about.
He's disappointing as well, too. Hunter Strickland was worse than this guy? No way. No freaking way. It's just been awful right now. I mean, those 2 guys there, it's just not fitting the mold for the Angels if you're trying to win. We don't see Matt Moore. We don't see anybody come in there. Those guys, disappointing. They're not our guys. Bring up some rookies, sign someone else. Bring Zach Greinke back, that little weirdo old man of him. I'd rather see that happen because at least he's competitive.
True.
Whew, somebody mentioned or predicted like, oh, the best part of the Angels is their bullpen this year, and I had a good laugh for a minute or so. Because when I saw that they got Luis Garcia, I was thinking about all the times here in San Diego last year where he got into jams. He was either bailed out by the defense or they scored enough runs to win whenever that was happening late in the season. So he was always put in pressure situations and never really did well. I remember him, the same thing with Philadelphia. Before they got good, he was there and he was having issues. So I was kind of disappointed in him, but then Rob mentioned that, well, just used to that with him. I guess for you got to be careful with this last name. Zunija, I'll just say for now. You're putting him in there, Major League debut, or no, the Angels debut, and the 3 runs given up and 2 hits and a walk. And didn't get a strikeout in his inning of work. You're putting him in there, and you're just hoping to put out the fire, but he becomes part of the fire, and that's unfortunate. It's a tough spot to put a young pitcher in there, especially a new one like this. So it just goes to show you, Garcia, you can't trust him. So you put him in early in the game like this, but what other option do you have? Cisneros not proven. Simber can give you something maybe later on, but you have to get to that innings first before you get to Stevenson. If he pitches this year, you have to get to him somehow. The Angels just have to find those whoever wants to work in this bullpen. They got to find a way to get to Stevenson, to get to Estevez. But Garcia is definitely not the answer. I'm not even disappointed. I'm just like, yeah, like Rob said, that's him.
Okay, that's tough. That's tough coming out the gates like that. So the Angels took it on the chin right there in that one too and lost 13-4. So for the first two games, we're kind of one of the embarrassments early on, only being outscored 24-7 in the first two games. But then Easter Sunday started, and we had Reed Detmers, who again has been, the inconsistencies from the starting rotation up and down. But Reed Detmers is a little different because when he's on, he does look like a goddamn ace. And starting that game 3 versus Tyler Wells today, he had it from pitch 1, and he was on fire. They really only had one shot at him. I believe it was the second inning, where they could have clapped back at the Angels, and they only got the one. And once he got out of that jam, he seemed to just cruise from there until they had to go to the bullpen. But how good did you feel with his performance? What did you guys think of his performance? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, Rob, but I want to go in a little bit more in depth on what you saw from Reed's performance there in Baltimore.
Went after the hitters. I mean, he had 2 hits allowed, 7 strikeouts. He did walk a couple of guys. I mean, obviously early in the season, we like to see him work on that a little bit more because that sometimes for him could snowball. But overall, he just went after guys. Located his pitches very well. Didn't make too many mistakes. Didn't leave anything out over the plate, which helped out. Big thing for me was 5 innings. I just said that right about Canning. 5 innings, he was out. You don't let him go the third time through that order because this is a good hitting team, Baltimore Orioles. A lot of these people have the Orioles going to the World Series, if not making a pretty deep playoff run. These guys are going to put up quality at bats. So as much as you can help out your pitchers and go to the bullpen like how we did today, I'm a big believer in that, and I loved it. But Detmers, he was on it today, right? He had that look, he had that fire in his eye that almost to the point where I should have been the ace.
Yeah.
Not to disrespect Sandoval at all. I'm sure they get along great, but he just had that, I want this ball. It's my team, it's my ball, give it to me. And you love to see that.
Okay, for Detmers, for Ron Washington, I think he learned his lesson from the day before and had Detmers only go 5 innings. Also, I know it was rare offense, but the fact that you had a lead, I think, would help Detmers. You kind of look up in the scoreboard and say, okay, it's okay if I make a mistake. Just don't make too many. He did give up the 3 walks, but he struck out 7. He had that curveball going, and especially that one to Mullins that just fooled Mullins, turning away. That was really great to see, but I want to see consistency from him. I know Washington was pumping him up as well during the spring. He's just got to keep that ball down, but I would love to see that curveball used more often. Guys, he was picked 10th overall in, I think, 2020 in the first round, and it's just funny because he'll have a start like this and then 3 bad ones in a row. Then he'll have another decent start and then 2 more bad ones, 1 great one, and then 3 more bad ones. I hope that changes this year. But I think also giving him run support can help. I think that could be a thing too, but just depends on him if he could stop walking people.
Why'd you put that bad juju on him, man? Come on, Ricky Bobby. Why would you do that to him?
and that's again, he did come out and pitch really good. So, good takes on him. But, getting that lead, segueing into how they got that lead, the big 2-run homer by Ward in the first inning, and then those nice timely hits that the Angels got to drive in the 1 run, and then obviously the pressure having guys on base. Baltimore makes a mistake, and they, I think Rauschman hit Ohapi on his way back to third, and you get gifted another run. How impressed were you guys first by the run scored, but then how disappointed were you that it took them another 7 innings to get a single solitary hit?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know. Just this offense, man, it just doesn't gel. It's just something's up with this offense, right?
Mhm.
I thought there'd be more of a hitting plan going forward with Ron here and what's expected of everybody, but Rendon's batting first.
Yeah.
I mean, is he a speed guy? No. Is he a guy that takes great pitches and works counts and walks all the time? No. All right. So what are we doing here? I mean, what's the point of this? Not a high average hitter or anything at all, but it was disappointing to see. It takes us a little bit to score those runs here and there, but at the same time, we're Angels, man. We got to take what we can, right? I'll take it. That's how it's going to be all year long, and we got to outpitch teams, which kind of sucks because we needed Snell, we needed Montgomery, we still need Trevor Bauer. Artie, go sign Trevor Bauer, please.
Yes.
I mean, we need something here. So if you're not going to be one, you got to be other. So if you're not a great hitting team, you better be a hell of a pitching team, or vice versa, right? So it's good and bad, but at this point in time, I'm not disappointed. I kind of expect something like this.
Yeah, the Angels could never get over 4 runs or more. That's just not going to be the thing with this team. With Ohtani gone, I just know it's going to be 4 or less every game. It just feels like that's the way it's going to be. And then you have to get lucky on some things, like an error, like you mentioned by Rachman, like some base hits and taking extra bases, going first to third or second to home easy. Something like that has to happen for this team to be successful. Also, having the pitching really helps, but it's not going to all happen on the same day. That's the bad part, and that's why these losses happen. Like you saw the first 2 games. I do give credit to Ward having 2 home runs so far this season, 4 RBIs. He's looking really good at the plate. Neto, his RBI single really helped. He's seen the ball well. I think he sees red when he sees a fastball coming. That's where he gets that foot down and he's able to drive the ball. It's very cool to see. Man, with Rendon struggling at the top of the lineup, it's not a good fit there. I hope Wash makes the adjustment. Maybe he'll do that, once they come home for the first series. But I think he's holding everything back because usually I remember when he was in the lineup, and it has to be early in the season, by the way, or the first 2 months. When he's in the lineup, he's usually hitting 4th or 5th, and he's driving in runs. He's a run producer. The hard part, like Rob mentioned, the hard part is him to take those pitches, get on base, take those walks, however you do it. We know he's really casual at the plate, and that's the unfortunate part. So I think, again, he's holding everything back from scoring more than 4 runs a game.
And he's very casual speed, too, because we saw what Renifo did when he came up and started that rally. It was just a little nubber off the end of the bat, and he beat out the throw and forced, because he forced a bad throw because of the trajectory of the ball. So speed does kill, and I think getting him up in the lineup, if that was Rendon who hit the nubber, he would have been out by like 10 steps. So, that's the huge difference right there. Now, moving on, they obviously held the lead 4-1. Detmers was out. And then Ron went to something that, again, and he teased us in the spring training saying, I'm stretching out Soriano as a starter. But then they gave up on that, and I was like, okay, they're going to put him back in the bullpen. But now they have this role for him. Do you guys like or dislike the fact that they used him 3 innings? I mean, put aside what he did, because we'll you guys could touch on that too. But 3 innings for Soriano. Did you like that bridge gap from the 6th inning to Estevez?
No. You kind of show that you don't trust the rest of your bullpen. And then let alone you have a guy who throws over 100 miles per hour, who's nice, who can offset these guys who throw a little bit slower, right? I mean, was Anderson throwing 80, 90? It's nice to have that transition guy to go from an 80, high 80s, low 90s to 100 mile per hour. Speeds up the game. I like the 1 inning, maybe 2, if his pitch count's correct. 34 pitches in 3 innings. I mean, it's efficient. Don't get me wrong. You can see how they was trained to be a starter. He was getting there, but I wasn't a fan of it personally because what happens if we need him tomorrow?
Yeah.
Are we going to have that Stephen Devin stuff where, hey, you're pitching Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're pitching Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I don't like that. Go with your best guy in the situation. Now, if Ron really feels that's his best guy in the situation, overall, we're in trouble because I thought Matt Moore could have came in. Somebody, right? We need to figure out who's our eighth inning guy, who's our closer. We're going to expect this to happen every single time. We need to bridge the gap to Estevez. I mean, I wasn't a fan of it, but yeah, obviously it worked, right? Hindsight again, 2020.
Yeah.
Looked like Ron knows what he's doing on that. It's me personally, I like the established roles, and I thought he said that everyone's going to have an established role on this team. And what do you tell your eighth inning guy? You're set up, man. We're not going to use you today, but it's my established role is to come in when there's a safe possibility and hold the eighth inning and then hand it over to the closer. That's what I personally believe. I'm old school like that, though. I like old school baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really miss when teams had like a 7, 8, 9 guy. You know, it was always growing up. It was like Scott Shields,
Brendan
Frankie,
Donnelly.
and then Percival, Brendan Donnelly. Then whomever, Scott Shields, and then Percival or Rodriguez. I miss that so much because even the Dodgers, who I hate, they had the same thing. With Mota and Gagne, or Duana Sanchez, Mota, Gagne. So I would love to have that. I think one thing we all complain about is the pitchers not having their assigned innings. But I think for a manager, especially nowadays, everything changes for you, right? Like you have to make the tough decisions. You have to do that. But it is good, though, because you train Soriano for this reason. And then what the hell else do you have in your bullpen that's already been tired, been frustrated? You might as well just let him try it. And if you have practiced this before, maybe it will work. But it's only worked this time. Maybe it won't work the next time, and then you have to just change it all up again. But I don't think they had another option in that bullpen. They used Garcia, they used Sember, Cisnero, and of course Suarez the day before, but you didn't want to put Suarez out there again. So I kind of like that for Soriano. And then if you have an injury and you need a starting pitcher, you could just throw him in there. He'll at least give you 2 innings. I don't know what he'll give up, but I kind of like this for Soriano. I do like something set for him.
Do you guys think this would have been a little bit different if we had Stevenson, Ben Joyce, and also the lefty? What's his name that went out with the Tommy John? He'll be back this year at some point. Quijada. If we had those 3 guys healthy and in the bullpen, do you think he only goes to Soriano 1 or 2 innings right there, and then one of those other guys?
Oh yeah, or even Bachman back too. Yeah, because you have more options. I don't think he trusts these guys here. I mean, I hope Quijada doesn't come back. That guy. That guy sucks. My opinion. But anyways, you give him more options, but yeah, he didn't have any confidence. I'm just not a fan of not seeing Matt Moore one time in the series.
Yeah, that's true. That was a little weird. But all in all, it worked out. You had Soriano, I think, only allow a hit, an error, and a walk. And then you had what is it called? Estevez mow him down 1, 2, 3 in the 9th, and then it was all she wrote, and we got out of there with a win. It felt like it was one of those games where Ron really was going to pull out all the stops to get that victory, because now it's not looking like, if Soriano, in my opinion, pitched 2 innings, he'd be available tomorrow, because I don't think Ron's doing, like you said, Rob, with the Nevin stuff where he can't pitch, but I think it'd be pretty hard pressed to pitch him tomorrow in any kind of situation. So yeah, he kind of handicapped himself for that Miami series. But overall, is it what you guys expected, taking 1 out of 3 from Baltimore before we move on to the Miami series?
No, I mean, I thought we were getting swept. I mean, I think Baltimore's a great team, and to take 1 out of the 3, I mean, you could say it's a loser mentality, but I'll take it, right? At this point in time, we got to build off something, and there's not much going into the season what we're expecting, but to see that you can compete with a team like this here and there and just put out your best stuff, and you see what it takes to win, and this is what you got to compete with in order to make playoffs, and these are teams you're going to face. So I thought I was pretty happy with it overall.
Yeah, to just get the 1 win, I was shocked by that. Even being outscored, like we mentioned, 25-11. You had to have some type of hero come in and pitch out of that bullpen and get to Estevez. That's going to be the tough part this year, and you're already seeing that with the 3rd game here. Yeah, to go against who I would think maybe would make the if the Astros can't get there or the Rangers, it'll probably be the Orioles making it out of the AL. So I just didn't want to get swept. And hopefully, as we go to the Marlins, hopefully they can, take this win and bring that momentum with them, whatever they have. But yeah, just don't want to get swept everywhere we go. And I believe they had a stat where the Orioles had 93 straight series without being swept. Just think of where they are and where the Angels are when you really think about that. So they always get the job done, but the Angels, it takes a lot for them to get just one win in a series.
True. And I was a little surprised myself. I was hoping for a Rally Chris special, but that would not take place there in Baltimore. That definitely wasn't going to happen. So we're going to talk about if there's going to be a Rally Chris special in this one by any of us as we take on the Miami Marlins starting tomorrow. And it's going to be Max Meyer versus Chase Silseth. Max Meyer is coming off of, I believe, let me pull up his stats right
Tommy
here.
John in 23.
Tommy John, this will be his second start. He pitched 6 innings in his first start, gave up 5 runs and 7 hits to the Pittsburgh Pirates, including 2 home runs and 2 walks, but got 6 strikeouts. So we're actually throwing the only righty in this whole series. So if you like left-handed pitching, you're going to get an awful lot of it. Who do you think wins and why between Silseth and Max Meyer and the Marlins? Marlins also, by the way, real quick, 0-4 coming off a sweep by the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates are a good team, and they're going to be a team that's going to surprise a lot of people. But here I see the Angels. I see Silseth taking this, man. That guy has great – I love Silseth, man. I think he should be our ace. Max Meyer, he was close to being an Angel. I don't know if you guys remember, right? Brandon Marsh trade was going to be done, dealt to there, and Max Meyer was the guy, and he was supposed to be the top prospect coming up. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if he's on the Angels' radar, I can't go for him as a starting pitcher. So I'm going to go Silseth all the way on this one. No, but Silseth overall, man. Hopefully he has a good outing like he did last game spring training there. I'm all about Silseth. So
okay,
I think it should be good.
What do you think?
Actually, I have optimism just for the game here on Monday for Silseth. I think he's going to be that breakout player. I just really feel good about him as long as they don't throw the ball at his head again. With Meyer, whatever it is, I was looking at his 22 stats, and he was really off and on. And then the start, of course, he had 6 strikeouts the 2 games he's been in. He has an 0-1 record. I'm just hoping that he'll give up some long balls and Chase will do his thing to just throw his nasty pitches. I actually feel good about it. Might get some time for Meyer coming off the surgery to really get going, and hopefully the Angels can hit him. Also, I want revenge. We all remember being in the suite last year when Miami came to town and swept the Angels at the Big A last season. I think it was in May, I want to say, and it was just June, or there was doom and gloom everywhere in that during that series. You did not want to get swept by Miami. Just got to keep the ball low and away to Arise. I think that would be good. And maybe we'll see Matt Moore against Josh Bell. Maybe we'll see that late in the game, and hopefully Moore can get him out. But it would mean that we're in a game that has importance. So maybe you'll see it tomorrow. Hopefully we'll see a Matt Moore sighting here.
Okay. And so you're predicting what, a dub?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to give a Bradley Chris special of 2 and 3. But yeah, a dub tomorrow. Okay.
So that'll move us on to Jesus Luzardo versus Tyler Anderson, a battle of lefties again. Luzardo coming off a start against Pittsburgh where he took a no decision. He gave up 2 runs, 1 home run, and had, let's see, how many strikeouts did he have?
8.
He had 8. So pretty good start. He's definitely had probably their best start so far, but it came in a losing effort by his team overall. That'll be the next game against Miami on Tuesday. Who do you guys think has the advantage and why in this one?
Oh, Miami all the way on this one. I mean, I'm just not a fan of Anderson pitching into this lineup. First off, I mean, Tim Anderson, Josh Bell, is it Jazz? Jazz Chisenholm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Luis Ariz. And even, who's the guy in was it Oakland? Jake Berger. Burger?
Oh, Berger.
Burger, yeah.
Burger, or
Yeah, the
he
former
was
White Sox.
White Sox, sorry. Yeah, he could tear the cover off the ball. I mean, and if Anderson's not spotting his pitches, doesn't have that get him out type pitch, that breaking ball, these guys are going to tear him up, man. And I just don't see it going well for us overall. And Luzardo, granted, we can put out the correct lineup, hopefully. It all depends on that, to be honest with you. I mean, if you have Rendon leading off, I just don't see it. Rendon Hicks, it's just 1-2 easy out, it feels like, you know what I mean? Nothing for Trout to do.
That's definitely a game where if Anderson gives up 5 runs in 4 innings, you're definitely going to have to rely on the hitting to keep you in the game, if at all. Because if they don't, the Miami's going to walk away with that one pretty hands down.
Yeah, I watched some of the series games between Miami and Pittsburgh, and I know one game was close. I think it was on Saturday, I want to say, but the rest of them were pretty much blowouts. I forget what today was, but we know that they lost 4 straight. They're hungry for a win. And Anderson, man, yeah, got to work on that changeup and throw a little curveball in there. I think it was working on the curve during the spring. He had some issues with that. But, man, that non-fastball that he has, that non-fast fastball, he can't locate that. That's going to be an issue. Because that thing is only, 89, 90, 91 on a good day?
Yes.
And you cannot have that lineup feast on that. If you do, you're not going to be in that game. They're hungry, but I know they're kind of searching for something right now in that Miami clubhouse, but they know they could turn it on at any time, and hopefully they don't do that with Anderson. Luzardo, I think it was 10-10 last year. He's decent. ERA is high, but everybody else's ERA is high. He only went 5 innings, that last start. I think it was Friday against Pittsburgh. Yeah, he struck out 8. And I probably have the same amount, around the same strikeouts as well, I think. But I think the Angels lose this game on Tuesday with Anderson going.
Okay. All right. So we'll take that loss right there. This will bring us to the getaway game, which would be the morning game here for us in Miami. It'll be A.J. Puck, another lefty, 3rd one in a row, coming off a start against Pittsburgh where he only went 2 innings, allowed 3 hits and 4 runs, all earned while accumulating 6 walks. So that's why he didn't last past the 2nd inning, similar to the guy he's opposed to, which is Patrick Sandoval. So what happens in this game? A reliever made starter versus a number 4 made ace.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Sandy. I'm going to have a little faith in him and see. Hopefully, he comes back and bounces back and shows that he's a gamer. I mean, I know I just tore him apart earlier, but I want to see this guy be successful, just like the rest of the Angels, right? I want him to be good. It just realistically, I don't see it. But a guy who's giving up 6 walks, it's going to be pretty hard to overcome or fix a problem because usually it's not just one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually multiple things, and now it becomes mental. It's in my head. Hey, my pitches. What am I doing wrong here? So hopefully that plays something into this a little bit, and that Sandy can come out and just get us 5. Just get us 5 innings, turn it over the bullpen. Hell, Soriano goes another 3 innings, 8th inning. There you go. Boom. It's that as it is. But just get us somewhere. 5 innings, quality, keep it in 3 runs or less. I think we have a good shot winning this game.
Yeah, 3rd game, getaway day. I feel like the bullpen's going to have a strong handle on that. Maybe we'll see Soriano again in multiple innings. But, man, Sandoval, he's at least got to go 4 innings for it to be not a winning start, but a successful start. And then you get into that bullpen little by little. He's got to redeem himself from opening day and not tax the bullpen as much. That's what I like. Luzardo was a former Athletic, so A.J. Puck was a former Athletic as well. He's a tall lefty. I think 7'5", or not 7'5". He was 7'5" last year. He's 6'7". So look out for that for those lefties in the lineup. If I'm the Angels, I try to go righty as hell. Put Joe Adele in the lineup. I think that'd be good in a dome environment there, or not dome, but retractable roof. And yeah, you mentioned the 2 innings of work that Puke had, or Puck, and the 6 walks. So hopefully the Angels are very patient with him. And man, I would like to see 3 innings of him so you can get as much as you can out of him run wise. But then you go into their bullpen. I think it's going to be a glorified bullpen game, and I think the Angels will take it.
Okay, so seeing that you guys are both calling for a Rally Chris special, is 3-3 a successful first road trip of the season, given all things that have happened?
I mean, so far, right? You still got to go to Boston after that. I mean, I'd be pretty happy with it going to Boston and see what they have. And I mean,
they're coming home. They're coming home after this.
They are coming home after. That's right. Yes, I'm sorry. They're coming home after this. Yeah, no, I'd be excited after that, and because it's a home opener, I'll be there, and pretty excited to see it overall. And I mean, Ron's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
you can't expect him to do what he did with the Rangers right away, because we didn't give him the tools. He didn't have what they had and everything. So yeah, no. Overall, it'd be a good start to the season. I do think every game counts early in the seasons, because become 161 or 162. You're a couple games back. These early games do matter. So I mean, overall, it'd be a success.
I would enjoy. I'm sorry. I think it would be a successful trip just based on my feelings about it. I thought it was going to be a sweep in Baltimore, so I said the best they would do would be 2-4 coming back home for the home opener. They shocked me. Now shock me again. Try to get a sweep. What the hell? It's early in the year. This is where they kind of take off, but eventually fall down from grace. But I'm going to go 3-3, and that's probably the most successful you can get, honestly, unless there's a sweep. But 3 for 3. I think it's a success. And then I know it's early, and I don't want to look at the standings, but I think Houston and Oakland are below us, and they have their own issues. But right now, and everybody's healthy except Stevenson, so I think it would be a successful trip to go 3-3 to start the year.
Sounds good. And I'm also going to go with the Rally Chris special 2 out of 3. So that's across the board right away. We're hoping for success there in Miami. And then for the homestand, everyone's going to be out there on Friday after the day off on Thursday. Are you guys planning to go to the red carpet? Because I think we should be all going right to opening day. You're going to be able to make it, James?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
But I won't go to the red carpet, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I would be kicked out for the things I'd be saying to Rendon if he shows his mug around there. But
he won't be there.
You, Rob?
I'm going to try to go because my son loves going, and great interaction with those guys, and he loves seeing the guys and everything. And Zach Neto, we saw him. Spring training was great with them. Mickey Moniak, same thing. Ben Joyce, but I know Joyce won't be there. But it just to see the look in my son's eyes, and just to see him enjoy it all and think how great these guys are, even though so far last couple of years we haven't been great. It's just cool to see and to experience in itself. And it's still, for us, it's still opening day, right? It's a new season, fresh start. We're not out of it until we're out of it in come July or June. But at least it gives us this little bit of hope until then. But I'll try to be there. That's
cool, man. Baseball has returned. We're going to say, James?
No, I was thinking about, how Rob was mentioning his son and the smile on the face and all that. And I can't help to think the pictures I've seen of like events there. These grown ass adults, hey, sign my baseball, blah, blah, blah. And just trampling little kids. I think they should just allow kids to be there on the front and really get to know the players, because you're reaching out to the future, basically. And you have the future there with Neto and Ohapi and whoever else shows up. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be there. But there'll be less people, I guarantee you that, because 17 isn't around anymore.
Yeah, we won't mention his name. But we'll save that for another podcast. But I think unless you guys got anything else, I think we pretty much covered, what was the Baltimore series, and then previewing the Miami series.
I mean, what's the over-under for Rendon strikeouts in this Miami series?
Ooh, if he's actually starting all 3, I would say 5 out of 3 games.
I think it's fair. I was going to go 6. I mean, he's been that bad. He's been that bad. He starts all 3 games. I can see it easily happening.
I'm going to go 4, and you can bet on it.
Oh, okay.
Put $17 on it.
All right. Let's do it. You got the under on that or the over?
No, I'm going to go under.
You got
under 4?
This is a Shohei dig 17. No, I think it would be 4 strikeouts for Rendon. I don't think he'll play Wednesday, even though with the day off. He's going to enjoy some Florida golfing maybe before the game.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely got a rest. It's already been taxing season on him. DH. Your DH is over for whatever. Freaking 3 strikeouts. That's freaking great. That we're going to the DH for that guy.
He's tired, guys. That's a lot of work.
I could do what he can do for half the price.
All right. So it's a good show, guys. Got into a lot of the X's and O's and the stuff between the lines, which is nice to talk about. Finally, we had baseball to talk about. And instead of spring training, because we know that counts as much as a 2020 season for the Dodgers. So as we any final thoughts, because I think I'm done for this show. You can catch this pod anytime, every day on Believe Network. That's where we're going to be mainly producing this, and also on YouTube, which you're watching right now. So any final thoughts, guys?
No, I mean, believe in us and believe in the podcast, guys, and tune in.
I see what you did there, James.
Be sure everyone follow, like, and subscribe. Think sweep, hopefully. Think sweep.
I like your attitude. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Catch you on the flip side.